This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Motorola Atrix 2 on AT&T. It's available right now for $99. It kind of surprised everybody, I think. They showed it off at the CTI trade show a week before it came out, and they never said when it was going to come out, and well, it just kind of popped out a couple of days after the iPhone 4S. So it got a little bit neglected in terms of marketing, but it's definitely a very nice Android phone, and we know the Motorola Atrix 4G on AT&T was one of their most popular high-end Android phones. And this one has a few key improvements. The display size is increased to 4.3 inches. It's a QHD resolution display, and it's not pen-tile for those of you who hate pen-tile matrix displays. Very nice display, sharp and colorful. It's not Super AMOLED, but it's a very nice display. The other improvement is it has HSPA plus 21 megs per second versus 14.4 for the old one, and our speeds have been really good. Now we have good coverage here in the Dallas area, but let me just show you our speed test results. As you can see here, we had one oddball slow speed, but we actually got up to 12 megs down here in one test, then 9, 2.456 here, and then 7.3 megs down, always about 1 meg up. That's really good, and the ping times are awesome, all under 100 milliseconds. So yeah, there's definitely a speed improvement here for 3G. Using it on the device, you know, you're not going to feel a huge difference between this maybe and the original Atrix, but when you're using this with the mobile hotspot feature, definite big difference. In terms of size, it's a largish phone, but it's not a behemoth. It's not gigantic. Here it is next to the iPhone 4S. This happens to be the Verizon version, but you know, they're both the same, AT&T and Verizon's version, so not too huge a phone by any means. We like what Motorola's done with the design. You've got the beveled glass. It bevels up a little bit, actually. It gives it an interesting look. And the back here, gone is the kind of shiny back on the original Atrix, and we've got a textured rubbery back that feels really good. It doesn't show fingerprints too much. Feels pretty durable. Build quality, as you expect from Motorola, is pretty solid. It's neat the way the cover kind of wraps around the top and the bottom also. Top here we've got our 3.5mm stereo jack where it belongs, and the power button. There's a mic hole up here. You've got your volume controls here. You have a dedicated camera button here, which is pretty rare. It launches the camera application. And then here are your micro HDMI and micro USB ports, and of course these work with the web top based accessories like the dock and the Lapdock 100, which is the one that looks just like an 11.6-inch kind of notebook. The Lapdock 100 is going to be compatible with this. Motorola is revising their Lapdock so that it uses shorty cables to connect, so they don't have to keep making a new Lapdock every time they come out with a new phone that uses that, and also to stop you from having to buy one every time you upgrade your phone. For those of you who don't know what WebTop is, it's a sort of Linuxy environment that you can use. If you plug this guy into the Lapdock, it acts something like a laptop. You get a desktop environment, a Firefox web browser, and you can run your Android apps inside of a window. It's not a hugely capable environment, but some folks really enjoy it, and it does give you a bit more of a computer-like experience, especially if you're using an Office suite or something like that. And if you haven't, do check out our original Atrix review so you can see what WebTop is about. In addition to the Lapdock, which is typically $200-300 on contract and more without, there's also a mini dock. You just plop it in sideways, kind of like a desktop dock that has the HDMI and USB ports out, and they're going to make a little $30 adapter that plugs in the side, about this size or so, that accomplishes the same thing, costs a lot less, takes up less space for those of you who just want to plug in your own monitor and USB peripherals. The phone's still 1 GHz, just like the original Atrix, but this time it's running on a 1 GHz TI OMAP dual-core CPU, which seems to be the fashionable CPU for this year, versus the NVIDIA Tegra 2 that was on the original Atrix. You're not losing anything, certainly, by going to the TI OMAP, and they benchmark just about the same on Linpack and on Quadrant, which is, say, about 2285 on Quadrant, 67 on Linpack in the multi-thread test. Just a different CPU. The only thing you're going to lose is NVIDIA Tegra Zone games, of which there are, 10 or less. So they're nice 3D games, but there aren't a whole lot of them. This has about 8 gigs of internal storage, or more like 6, partition between application installation area and data storage area. And there's a micro SD card slot on the back we'll show you to expand storage further. It runs Android OS 2.3.5 Gingerbread. Works with Google Talk, and it's the latest, greatest version of the operating system, which is pretty cool. And you can see Motorola hasn't done too much to the UI here. If you look at the home screen, you can see their little customized square icons and some of their widgets. This is their social networking widget over here, their weather widget, wireless controls, that kind of thing. It's a fairly pleasant experience, certainly doesn't slow anything down, and we like it fine. Some of Motorola's value-added apps are on board too, we like that. You've got ZoomoCast, for example, which has to be one of the coolest things. We'll take a look at it, and this gives you remote access to all the files on the computer of your choice, Mac or Windows. So you can see here that it says my MacBook Air is online. And I'm going to check out my iTunes music folder and play some music. One-handed operation, as you can tell, is also fairly easy. I have reasonably large hands, but not immense. So there I am, streaming an iTunes tune off of my MacBook Air computer, playing it right here, and this is over AT&T's HSPA Plus network. I'm streaming this. We do not have Wi-Fi on right now. And for your more business-minded people, obviously you can access your office documents. Any documents you need to grab, you can do using ZoomoCast. Definitely awesome app that Motorola's been putting on their phones recently. Another feature is Motorola's Account Manager, which comes from their MotoBlur days, and you can tap that, see all the accounts you have, and anything else you want to add right here. You've got a whole lot of stuff to choose from, including Exchange, Sync, email, Facebook, Flickr, Google, Last.fm, LinkedIn, PhotoBucket, Skype, YouTube, Yahoo, and so on. Speaking of Skype, we tested out the latest version, 2.5, and we couldn't get video outbound on this. It worked for inbound video just fine, but had problems. Hopefully Skype will get updated and things will start working with that, but you can use Google Talk Video Chat meanwhile. Phone has the usual Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and GPS is Bluetooth 2.1, EDR, Wi-Fi 802.11 BGN. There's a front-facing camera, obviously, for that video chat, and there's an 8-megapixel autofocus camera here with the big old LED flash on the back. It takes decent photos. It's typical Motorola. The photos are a little bit stark, quite sharp. Color saturation, not super maximal, but pretty good. This is your speaker grill on the back over here. Gone is the fingerprint scanner that we saw on the original Atrix. So this is what it looks like with the cover off. You can see the large battery here, 1785 milliamps. Micro SD card slot, you get a 2 gig card. Woo! Of course, you can put a card of your own in there up to 32 gigs. The SIM card slot is underneath the battery. So obviously your camera lens here and speaker grill. And the phone's 8-megapixel camera can shoot 720p video. Other software installed on here. AT&T didn't go overboard with the bloatware by their standards. They tend to put a lot of apps on the phone, but you've got the usual AT&T barcode scanner, which is actually kind of handy. AT&T Family Maps, AT&T Navigator, in case you don't want to use Google Maps navigation in places. We've got AT&T Live TV, which is powered by Mobi TV. We'll check that out in a minute. And we've got Movies, which is M-Spot Video, that's video rental service. And, of course, the inescapable Yellow Pages mobile. Motorola hasn't put their full suite of business apps on here because this is a little bit more consumer-oriented phone, say, compared to the Droid Bionic, but we do have, obviously, the WebTop Connect for those who want to use the lap dock. ZoomoCast that we took a look at. They have a task manager built in as well. And that's just about it for custom Motorola applications. Oh, one neat thing is the Motorola phone portal here. And that's their version of the usual USB syncing on Android, but it's better because you can obviously use your USB to plug in here and switch between mass storage mode and so on. And you can connect via Wi-Fi too, so you don't actually have to use the cable and if you want to transfer files back and forth. All the standard Google apps are on board here. The WebKit-based web browser with Adobe Flash. Google Books is here as well. Again, maps and navigation. Motorola includes a file manager. The gallery is available. So all the stuff you'd expect. YouTube player, all the goodies. Let's take a look at Live TV. This is streaming over AT&T's 4G network again, or HSPA Plus. And this is a multi-subscription service. As you saw, we're testing this out right now in pre-subscription mode. And we will check out something on one of the live channels. Speaker's quite good on this phone, by the way. Loud, clear, and full. And we have a little Saturday Night Live action going. It looks pretty sharp. Works fine. And then we'll take a look at movies, which is M-Spot Video again. And you can rent movies here. The prices are not hugely competitive. For example, this is $5 to rent Bad Teacher. But it is available. And as you can see here, if you want to start streaming something, it actually makes you turn Wi-Fi on. So we're going to have to enable Wi-Fi so you can see at least trailer quality.
Are you excited for tomorrow? Is tomorrow Saturday? No.
You can hear how nice that speaker sounds.
Yeah, I'm not going to go to that. But it's mandatory. Elizabeth, you shouldn't.
So that's M-Spot Movies. AT&T bundles only one game. It's a trial of Let's Golf 2. And the first time you run it, you're going to have to turn Wi-Fi on for that too and download another 190 megs worth of game files. Try out the playable demo. We'll take a look here. That's fine. Pretty good looking graphics, nice 3D environment. Typical Let's Golf 2, plays smoothly on this. So there you go, the ubiquitous Let's Golf 2. And for those of you who are a little more business-minded, Quick Office is included to work with it. MS Office documents. And it works with PDFs, spreadsheets, Word documents, and PowerPoint presentations. And you can create new documents, as you can see here, or open up stuff from your storage. Pretty basic interface, but it gets the job done. And you've got your access to your formatting, your search, all your functions are in here. Font changing. All that kind of stuff. So there you go, good for Office too. Motorola did not include their Moto Print with this. Again, this is a little bit less of a businessy kind of phone, so you don't get Citrix or Moto Print, those kind of things. And lastly, we're going to take a look at the web browser. And we'll visit mobiletechreview.com, our site. And you can see the on-screen keyboard here, pretty large and easy to use. It's the typical Motorola keyboard. Load times are very good. Again, this has very nice speeds. And it's handling flash ads just fine. Since it's QHD, fonts are a little small, but you can always zoom right in and see things no problem. Now we'll test out Adobe Flash Playback. Now we're testing Adobe Flash Video Playback inside the browser. This is 360p embedded in one of our reviews of the Samsung Galaxy S2, and we'll pop it out to full screen now. And 480p. That's bigger than the original Galaxy S2 overseas, and also plays just fine. That dual-core CPU is perfect for this. A little skipping here and there. More network related, I think, than performance on the device. So that's the Motorola Atrix 2 on AT&T. It's available now for $99. And for $99, you get a lot of phone. AT&T's been a little crazy lately. They've released some high-end phones at low price points for Android. The LG Thrill is also $99, for example. And you get the latest Android operating system, 2.3.5 on this phone, a dual-core 1 gigahertz CPU, 8 megapixel camera that takes decent shots. A little slow to start up the first time, after that not bad. Very fast HSPA plus 21 meg per second performance on the phone. And the usual set of wireless radios, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, the GPS. Call quality on the phone is quite good, typical of Motorola, and reception also is very good on the phone, making it a good choice for voice phones. And battery life, we're still testing that, but so far it's got a very large capacity battery and it's holding up pretty well. I should think that with moderate use in terms of web browsing, checking email, and making, say, half an hour to an hour worth of calls per day, this should last through to definitely until you get home from work into, say, 9 o'clock or even later at night. And of course, another thing that sets the Motorola Atrix 2 apart, just like the Atrix, is the amount of accessories you can get for the thing. Motorola offers the lap dock that turns it into a little notebook of sorts, other docks that also turn it into that webtop Linux environment, and of course there's HDMI out if you just want to mirror stuff on TV to watch videos or photos, that kind of thing. I'm Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and visit our website for the full review.